Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience podcast. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do subscribe. If you watch the videos, do hit the like button and do share it with your friends. Guys, कर लो यार, like, share and subscribe हमारा channel. अच्छा खासा content है और free में ही करना है. Like, share and subscribe. There is no cost involved in liking, sharing and subscribing to our channel. With that, today we have as our guest Prithvi Mashruwala, a famous personality, I would say, who has in the past 1.5 year helped nearly 1,500 plus students with the help of 150 plus mentors. And it's an honor to have him as our guest today. Hello, Prithvi, how are you?
Yeah, hi Manan. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm good. I'm good. You're also doing great, I know. So finally we get to talk, right? After so
Yes,
many
finally.
years,
Yes, true,
knowingly,
true.
knowingly, unknowingly, knowing each other, not knowing each other, but we stayed in touch somehow, and here we are, right?
Yes, definitely. I guess, not everyone is gonna know this, but when I started calling Umang and you, so there were a few questions, ke, how do you know these people, karke? And now suddenly, so to them, I have to say, ki, guys, I was a part of early IPCC, early bird wala batch. I have also cleared
Yeah,
my group one, so that is how I know
your
these people.
your hidden side. No one knows. Yeah,
Yes. That's the true way to say it. Uh, Prithvi, over the past 1 year, I guess in last year in April, if I'm not wrong, you started with Vision CA
right.
and you got into mentoring immediately after clearing your CA final. So with Vision CA, what led you to start this mentorship firm, I
Right.
would say? Is it registered, first of all?
Uh, I won't comment on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we are in the process. We are evaluating the best structure, but it's in
Hmm.
process. Yeah. So I'll be very honest. It's so Vision CA when we started, we did not know that it would be such a big thing, and it, we did not know that we would be doing what we are doing right now. Okay, but I'll tell you how it started. So in May, on 2nd of May, in the peak of pandemic back in 2020, I called up my
Hmm.
friend Yash Shah saying,
Hmm.
I'm getting bored with work. Let's do something. Because what had
Hmm.
happened was when the pandemic was at its peak, we were all free, relatively free. Obviously, work was going on, office was going on, but we had some time. So I called him up saying, let's do something for the CA students because I had qualified quite recently. So I am from the November 19 attempt and my results came out in Jan. And then
True.
by March, pandemic was at its peak. So our plan was to create a page, a social page on Instagram, Facebook, and to create YouTube videos. And so my co-founders, Raj, Yog, Harshin, Ashwi, Yash, and me. So we decided let's shoot at least 50 YouTube videos and
Hmm.
then we will decide whether to continue or not to continue. Let's give it a shot. So that's how it started. And in the beginning, if you'd see our Instagram page even today, you can refer to our Team Vision CA page. So if you'd go to the very beginning,
Hmm.
there are only motivational quotes. We used to
Okay.
use that poster maker and upload some
Hmm.
motivational quotes. That's it.
Okay.
And then uh, the unique thing that started uh, our, so as we call it as a growth hack. So what proved to be a growth hack for us was we started collecting humans of CA kind of stories.
Okay. Hmm.
We knew some rank holders and a lot of CAs from our circle itself. So we started with a few stories, and then people themselves started coming and approaching us saying that he post my story. And then
Oh.
in turn, they would share in their circles, and that's how the page grew. Okay. now one more important growth hack that happened is, so this might be it's odd in today's time, but Facebook was one of the uh, pushing forces in our growth. So what we
Okay.
did is, I got my sister added to a lot of CA related pages, and she kept on sharing our content over there. So that got us a lot of traction on Facebook. So
Hmm.
from Facebook we converted the following to Instagram.
Hmm.
And then one fine day a student asked saying, do you guys have WhatsApp groups?
Hmm.
So there's this concept of WhatsApp groups where study groups basically.
Yeah.
So we started in May, but if I check even today, our first Vision CA WhatsApp group was created in July. So May,
So.
June, July. In the third month, we created a WhatsApp group. So
Hmm.
now we created the WhatsApp group. So we were wondering what's different in this WhatsApp group. So
Hmm.
what we did is, we had already posted stories of CAs, right? So we knew
True.
a lot of CAs already. So
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
asked
Hmm.
them, will you become a mentor? So
Hmm.
by mentoring, we simply meant we have a WhatsApp group with students. We will add you to that group.
Hmm.
So this was happening for the first time ever, that there is a WhatsApp group where there are qualified CAs as well as students. So this was the USP and differentiating factor, and that led to the whole craze and the whole euphoria, saying that there's this group of people, there's this group of
Hmm.
CAs who are helping students in WhatsApp groups. So we started
Oh.
with group one, two, three. So today we have 7 WhatsApp groups for final and inter respectively, and we have Telegram groups as well. They have more than 1,000.
Membership
Yeah,
capacity, right?
that's how it was going. And
Okay.
then what happened was, we were scaling up. So initially kaisa tha, we had not done any allocation student level pay. So it
Hmm.
was simple and manageable. There's one group, there are students, there are CAs. But then
Okay.
it became so huge that there was a gap between the student and the mentor,
Hmm.
because the WhatsApp groups would be full, and whenever a
Hmm.
new mentor joins us, there was nothing for him to do. He was clueless
Hmm.
what to do. So then
Right.
we came up with the whole restructuring plan, the structuring program, saying we prepare a Google form. Once
Hmm.
the student fills that form, he will be assigned a mentor.
Hmm.
So it's one-to-one tagging now. And then we shoot
Okay.
email, and then we shoot an email to the student, and the student is supposed to join that mentor's WhatsApp group. So
Whoa.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So this whole
Oh.
yeah. So this activity we started in on the 16th of March of this year. So one whole year we ran things as it is. Then we got some feedback, and even we realized that was the gap is increasing. So we need to scale up well. So if we would not have scaled up properly, then it would have been a disaster. So one important takeaway I feel is that always be open to feedback.
True.
Because you know what happens if something is working in your favor, things tend to get in your head and
Hmm.
you tend to get nosy. But always be open to feedback. So uh, I my co-founders, one of their key jobs is to come and give me negative feedback. That's it. I've told them your KPI is only to come and give me negative feedback. To do or not to do, that is my lookout. But तुम लोग आके
Right.
मुझे गाली दो बस. That's
Just to keep
so
you grounded.
yes, absolutely.
Uh, wow. Yeah, yeah, that's true. When you say that initially, when you started with only like official Humans of CA kind of page, I do remember one of the first stories was that of Arijit,
Yes.
because he had been contracted with typhoid, if I'm not wrong. Typhoid
Yes.
or something like
It was a
some
disease.
disease,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
during the just before his attempt, and yet he appeared, and yet he cleared his exams, both the groups. So I was aware of that story. And yeah, I mean, this was really, I guess it was, you didn't expect this to grow at a stage where you will be
Not
giving one-to-one individual mentorship to students.
not at all.
Damn. Man, I mean, this is the second, I mean, this is the third or fourth story that I've heard where अरे मेरे को pandemic में कुछ करना था and then start किया and then within 1 year boom it's growing at a very quick stage. Wow.
Yeah.
So what is
So
your current position like? And now are you allocating based on IPCC and final level, or now it has gone down to individual subjects as well?
no. So I'll tell you how we do. We got foundation, inter, and final के लिए we do allocate. And subject wise, we have other groups, doubt solving groups. Also, additionally, if a student says that I am facing difficulty in this subject, then we have subject matter experts as well, and we refer them to them.
Wow, so this is literally like customization help, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Mein bhi hai and wow.
So people, my fellow mentors joke कि normal people Google, other people message Prithvi. At least it's
Nice.
okay.
No, because it is, I guess it's, no, I mean, it's not a guess also. I mean, I can see it's a phenomenal job that you're doing. When you told me that, because on Twitter also I'm following you. I saw last you keep updating the Google Forms. So there, the last time I saw, last I saw that you had mentored 1500 plus kids plus 130 mentors. So that is why I had to ask you on WhatsApp what is the current status on mentors as well.
So I'll tell you, this is the old figure you are saying. So I updated today only. It's
Tell me the current figure.
1880 students and 195 plus mentors.
Wow. And it is still growing.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, but still we are learning. We are receiving feedback from students as well. We are trying to work on those things. So I've realized that even if I'm not doing this for money, still it's like a startup, right? It's a social startup.
Correct.
Still there's so much learning. Every moment you have to take a decision. I wonder what the real founders would be doing, what the real startup people would be doing, the kind of pressure they would be going through. So, this is kind of like a virtual startup for me. That's how I see myself, the founder of a social startup. The learning is immense. So I know that even if tomorrow there's nothing left, so I tell to all my team members that, see, even if Vision CA does not exist tomorrow, we have the learnings, right? Think of it as a 1-year project. It's that simple. But these learnings are going to stay forever. So I'll tell you what all things I've got to learn. I've learned a lot of people skills, conflict resolution, how to take suggestions from people, learning how to say no, how to avoid, getting taken advantage of. Because, when you start out, there's not everyone's going to support you or not everyone's going to give you the same push. But once things start going, start working, everyone wants to join the party.
Yeah.
See, today.
So when you say this,
when
you say this, okay, initially nobody wants to join the startup, but once it's starts growing, everybody wants to join the bandwagon. My brother and I were just having this discussion a few days ago, because what happened is we have received, I'm going to tell you the exact number as well. So far, we have received 2 or 3 requests from people or from my seniors as well. Ke mujhe kab bula rahe ho? So at the beginning, when I posted the story, I guess you'll remember also when I posted that I'm converting my personal profile to content creation.
I remember. Yeah.
So few people said good luck, and like you were also excited when I asked you, can I'll come karke. And but not these people, these 2 to 3 people who told कि मुझे कब बुला रहे हो, they didn't even wish कि अच्छा क्या start करें. At least curiosity भी रखते हैं कि what is this podcast and what are you going to do. तो मैं मानता कि नहीं, people are genuinely taking interest. But now that we have some, I know it's a small platform right now. It is 111 subscribers and only 9. This is the 9th episode with you. So even at a small scale, people now want to they're thinking it's a bandwagon कि नहीं अभी तो मुझे join करना ही है करके.
Absolutely. नहीं, I'll tell you how it is. कोई भी कंपनी का IPO आता है, does it get subscribed 100 times on the first day? No, right? It has to sail through on the first day. 4-5 times first day subscribe हुआ, फिर second day, third day the retail investors would apply. That's the analogy I'm trying to put over here. So it's always going to be that way. It's always going to be that way. So that's
Yes.
proof that you're doing something right.
Something right. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Proof that you're doing something right.
Something right. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. I mean, when we posted your reel also, I noticed that nearly 15 to 16 people made it their story as well, tagging you. And just yesterday, I was talking to Aditya, one of your close friends. Then he posted the thumbnail that we had posted yesterday. So I told him, "K, I really appreciate you posting this, and thank you for sharing it." So he said, "Oh, Prithvi is my really good friend, and we have been we encourage each other a lot." And so we could see that, yeah, I mean, these are the kind of people that you want initially, who are ready to give you the push, ke nahi bhai kar karke. I'm really happy to see that people are posting about you. Okay, acha, Prithvi is coming to the podcast.
Yep.
Nice. So, what kind of mentorship do you give to students?
Right. So mentorship, we try to cover everything. So what happens, I'll tell you, in traditional learning system, you go to your coaching classes, they give out the content, educational content, game over, you are on your own. What we are lacking is an emotional support, a strategy support in terms of, push. So there are two types of issues a student faces once he enters the CA system. I'll give you a very simple example. I'll give you my own example. I am from state board. Are you from state board?
No.
Okay. So what happens in state board is fill in the blank, true or false, answer in brief, answer in short form. Okay. These are the types of questions.
Yeah.
Copy paste. You need to mug up these questions and you need to copy paste in the paper. So we have seen students scoring 95, 96, 97% in state boards, flunking in CA exams. Why does that happen? The student does not have the required mindset, the change in strategy that's required once you enter CA. And also what happens is it's more of a mind game. By that I mean, you need to have a very strong mindset because students are in isolation. So this quarantine and these concepts are not new for CA students. They've been doing it forever.
Ever since the course started. True.
Yes. So what I have noticed is mentally the student is in a very weak and vulnerable zone.
Right.
So he needs an emotional push. So how does he get that push? If you have a mentor who is already a CA, so you're talking to a person who has gone through it all, and just by talking to that person, you realize that, hey, he has sailed the boat and he's talking to me. Even he's a human. So I am no less. So even I can do it. And similarly, the CA, our mentors are all fantastic people. See, normal, intelligent people become CAs. CAs with a big heart become mentors with us. That's what I say.
And this is a nice way of putting it, because people who are already intelligent, they will probably sail through easily through the course.
Right. So we also help the students prepare a timetable, strategy. So we also have a daily goal sheet. So what we have done is we prepared a nice, Google sheet where we have asked the student to write down his strong subjects, weak subjects, if he had attempted the exam earlier, how much he scored, how much he intends to score now, and how we'll improve that score. And we ask them to update it every week and submit it to their mentors. Now over here, we want everyone to update it daily, but it's something only the most dedicated ones will do. So I've told my mentors as well that it will hardly 1% or 0.5% people will do, but whoever does it, they're sorted, right? The job is done.
True.
Also, other things that we do is we analyze the papers of the student after exams, or if the student has appeared for a mock paper, we analyze that as well, and then we keep a mentoring session with them. So everything that you can think of, we provide. Then we also have articleship support. We review the CVs of our students and then help them apply to Big Fours and other firms as well.
Hmm.
I personally referred more than 50 CVs of articles in the last cycle. But
In the
now,
last
obviously, with
month.
last attempt cycle,
Okay,
last
last
attempt cycle.
attempt. Mm-hmm.
And now, obviously, with increasing workload, I'm not able to do that. But I tell our other mentors to get it done. So other mentors who are finalists, CA finalists. So we got Prathmesh, Dipshi, and other team. So I forward it to them and they take it ahead. So
Wow.
everything under the roof, everything, whatever you can imagine. So you think of any random thing and ask me, I'll say yes. Chalo. You can do that as well.
Wow. I mean, this is this problem that you talked about, that when you go to coaching classes, it is purely like forced content consumption.
Exactly.
एक बार Netflix or YouTube हो तो we can watch on at our own convenience, but this is like अगर एक lecture miss हुआ, then you are done for the entire subject, if I'm not wrong.
Exactly. Right.
Everything under just one roof, right from clearing, strategizing, and articleship as well. So
Yes.
you are a first generation CA,
Yes.
correct? So was this one of the biggest reasons that you started this mentorship program? Because you personally faced, I mean, I'm aware that you cleared everything in first attempt. So I mean, all credit to your hard work, and you nailed everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yet at the same time, being so self-aware that if I am facing this, I mean, I understand ki you might be thinking to yourself, कि मैंने कर लिया, I am aware of it. Okay, and luck also was there, sub first attempt ho gaya. But at the same time, being so self-aware that if I am facing, then there are thousands other facing.
Correct.
But they might not have the resources to deal with or strategize it. So let's help them out. Was this like one of the reasons you started out?
Yeah. So slight correction I would like to make. So I did not clear all in first attempt, everything in first attempt except for the second group of
Acha.
finals that I cleared in the second attempt. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah. So one of the main factors, you can say, yes, I was not a. So I was a first generation CA. That was one of the main factors. However, I was lucky enough to have a good circle, and my best friend Yog, his entire family is a family of chartered accountants. So I always knew that he is there and his family is always there to support and guide whenever I need. But I used to wonder that I have these friends, but what about others? Right. So today, I'm proud to say we have students from almost every state of India. We have from Arunachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Bihar, UP, Orissa, Kerala, Karnataka, you name the state, we have it across all states.
Oh.
And when I look at the form, I get to know names of cities I've never heard of. Have you heard of Ernakulam, Forbes Nagar? I got to know about these places once
Forbes
I.
Nagar.
Yeah, exactly. Forbes Nagar. Right? So I'm getting to know about these places when I'm going through it. So we have mentors from Uttarakhand, then all exotic locations. Everywhere you name it, I'll say yes. So
I mean, so it's like these are the destination that we Mumbaikars know as कि vacation करने जाते हैं.
Right, right.
Oh, geez. So since these people are present, at present all over the country, how do you do mentorship? Like apart from the WhatsApp groups, abhi samajh lo, if I'm staying in Delhi, I obviously I'll post my doubt on one of your groups, okay? But then to solve those doubts, how do you do that?
Yes, very. I like this question. So I'll tell you how our allocation works.
Okay.
So luckily we have a mentor from each location, right?
Acha, okay.
So these 195 mentors I'm referring, they are spread all across India. It's not that they're concentrated in Mumbai. So while filling the form, we have a question saying which is your nearest local railway station and your state name. And then we try to allocate the student to the mentor who stays nearby that location.
Man, this is I mean, what can I have no words to describe that how in depth and how much personalized experience you are trying to give to students who are facing the difficulties in clearing.
Right, right.
And then
So
is it like बाद में the mentor फिर उसके बाद कॉल पे बात करते हैं या the Zoom को you conduct a webinar kind of thing where एक particular area के students रहे तो that day वहाँ का webinar होगा something like that.
no, it's personalized at a call to one-to-one call level. Yeah.
I literally got goosebumps when you said that, each city where, not even state, like majority of the cities which where students can pursue CA, वहां पे हर जगह पे मैंने रखा है. Damn, dude.
Right. So I'll give you one example. अभी केरला है ना, तो सिद्धार्थ अय्यर फिक्स है. केरला का बच्चा है तो सिद्धार्थ अय्यर को ही जाएगा. फिर if the student is from Ludhiana, then it's प्रतिमा गर्ग. तो प्रतिमा को तो इतना परेशान कर दिया हमने. प्रतिमा बोलती है बस करो भाई, अब मुझे मत दो और mentor. So she was that overloaded with work. So then we got more mentors from Delhi. So Delhi based भी, North based भी अच्छा है. So Delhi में भी have a lot. So उसमें भी we had that specificity कि भाई गुड़गांव है तो चांदनी को जाएगा, एंड अगर दिल्ली है तो दिल्ली के तो अच्छे खासे अपने दूसरे है, भावुक है, महिमा है, वो लोग है तो उनको जाएगा. So it's that specific. I'll tell you the reason why. So कैसा होता है कि जो the location that a student belongs to, he has a certain environment, a certain mentality, mindset. Also, he gets help in terms of college selection decision, classes selection decision, and there are a lot of other factors in play. And also there's a level of comfort knowing that the mentor I'm talking to would know my situation more. Now see, Borivali, most of the students I take, so there's a kind of comfort, right? So the mentoring experience would always be better if the student is from Borivali or Mumbai when he comes to me as compared to a student from Kolkata or Delhi talking to me. Right? So that we have been able to provide.
Yeah. This thing when you say, that that the environment of the student matters as well. Because how should I put it? Because see, staying in Borivali, okay, you can tell to one Kolkata student that, अरे ये college change कर देना, इसमें तो attendance का issue है. It is very convenient for you to say. But people over there know that अगर ये college से ये college में switch करेगा, तो I understand that the attendance issue is not there. But at the same time, there is some other problems to the college. So it is not advisable to go to that particular college as well.
Right.
Wow. I mean, see, good that you brought up this point that, the environment matters a lot. See, it is a well-known fact in Mumbai that people who are pursuing chartered accountancy as a course choose NM as their college.
They begin with it.
They begin with it, right? And credit goes to college that NM produces the highest number of CAs and everything. I understand the fandom, but you were in NM for 11th and 12th, okay? And if I'm not wrong, you changed to HR or Jai Hind. Which college did you switch to? HR. So what was the reason behind changing your college? I mean, apart from the attendance, I'm aware that HR का attendance नहीं है. Attendance के अलावा, what else was the reason to make such a switch where the entire Mumbai is aware कि सब CA students NM में पढ़ते हैं? The majority of the population, I mean, is also pursuing CA. So why change from that environment to an HR environment where people are not even coming to college?
So I'll be very honest. This was a very tough decision for me. And one of the moving or defining moments when I was sure that I have to switch is in my earlier college, NM college. So the principal was our maths teacher. And earlier even I had the mindset that if one is pursuing CA, then one has to be a student over here. But in one of the lectures, he gave a very cryptic message saying that your main aim is BCom. Whatever other activities you're doing, don't expect any support. So this was cryptic in a way. That's when I felt broken. Not that emotionally, but I
Yeah,
thought that
and
this
no,
is
I
a
understand that it's a very
yeah,
terrible way to say it कि हम तो कुछ
yeah.
support नहीं देंगे.
Somehow I knew it was there. मतलब they had reservations and all against it, but this came out very loud and clear. It was a loud and clear message. Ki, hey, you're on your own, right? That's when I became sure that I have to switch, and a lot of my friends were switching already, and then I switched along with them. No doubt, I missed out on college life, but I got what I wanted, and I'm proud to say today that my group of NM friends is larger than many NM students who graduated from there. So it's fine. So, and
Uh,
all's well that ends well. I got what I wanted, so it's fine.
yeah, after all it was worth it because you cleared everything,
Yeah.
very quickly and completed your course as well. Wow, I mean, I mean, see, being a principal, he is aware that काफी सालों से since decades this is going on कि लोग CA plus BCom यहीं से कर रहे हैं, and yet not even being subtle about it के what a harsh way to put it.
Right.
So how do you think the people and the students who don't make a switch, who continue to stay in NM are how do they manage
Uh,
everything so well?
so I myself continued for a month in BCom. I had even appeared for the unit test over there. But for me, it was physically exhausting, I'll be very honest. So our day used to begin around 5:30 or 6. Then we used to take the train, go to college, then go to classes, and then come home. So hats off to everyone who is able to do it. And I would say that people have been doing and they will keep on doing. But
True.
given a choice, I would always stick to what I've done. So it is difficult, but they manage somehow. They sit in the library, proxy and everything. You know how things work. But I am not that kind of a person. मतलब मेरा कैसा है, मुझे guilt चढ़ेगा if I do all these things. If you are doing something, do it properly. Else don't do it. So
Don't
they
do
do
it.
all kinds of things. Book रख दिया library में. Then there are a lot of things. You know how they get
Right.
it done. They manage, but I don't like to manage it in that way. So yeah.
I mean, I guess in some, see what I think might be going through their head, but they might not be speaking it loud, is that what happens is, see, I understand pressure is good, okay. But if there is too much pressure put at a very young, on young shoulders that, they don't know how to deal with it, then the people might face burnout eventually.
Absolutely.
So even if somebody from NM who has completed his CA in first attempt, okay, first of all, credit to his hard work. But do you think somewhere like 2 or 3 years down the line, वो exhaustion इतना आ जाता है कि like I want to change my career completely. I don't want to be a chartered accountant. I don't want to work with this chartered accountancy core work. I want to switch to something else. Do you think they might be facing, but they might not be doing something like that?
I like this point. So not only students who have pursued BCom from a particular course, but this is a very common trend across CAs. Irrespective whether they do college or not, there is a level of burnout that they face for a year or two. Even I'm going through that phase. I'll explain how. So usually, pehle there was a level of stamina in terms of studying. You could
Hmm.
sit and study for long hours and do things. But again, if you want to sit and study, you won't get that flow. You need to struggle, and it requires a lot of willpower to get the things done. So I know currently I am not pursuing any course. I tried to appear for CAT, but I just could not sit to study. I struggled a lot, and even if I would ask all my other friends who are pursuing CFA, GMAT, and other exams, they say that पहले जैसा नहीं है. It's not like it used to be. So it's kind of a sprint. Once you run the sprint, then it will
Complete
take
तो
some
करना
time
ही
to
है
run
बस
again.
sprint, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, that burnout does set in, though people are aware of it or not.
You know, when you say that about yourself, that you're also facing that situation where you're feeling that burnout. I mean, in my opinion, I would disagree to it, because you are managing your work at the place where you're working as well. I am aware of the place where you're working, but I won't say the
Yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah.
There is intense pressure over there, first of all.
Mhm.
Okay. At the same time, you're taking the another pressure of Vision CA. Okay. And yet you are able to justify both your efforts. I don't think that there is burnout. It's just sometimes you need to take a step back, relax, and then restart again. Because if you would have been burnt, if you would have been burnt out, first of all, your willpower to do anything would not exist only. The only part of your life would be कि नहीं, मुझे पता है मुझे ऑफिस जाना है, ऑफिस जाऊंगा, घर आऊंगा, and that's where your life ends. But no, even with Vision C, I'm seeing your efforts, that there is constant growth as well. So to say that it is, I mean, obviously, I'm not, saying that you might not facing it, but just to
Yeah,
put it in perspective, that I really like how you're managing two things at the same time, with job and so much of, 1,888 students and all that. Yeah.
but ultimately, I would give credit to the entire team. See, it's not just me. It's
Yeah, true.
we have groups, committees for each and every function. We have a dedicated team for PR. We have a dedicated team for mentor allocation. We have a dedicated team for whatever function we do. We get in the interested mentors and then we get them working. So it's not just me. See, I may be representing Vision CA today over here, but it's a collective dream of everyone that we are all living it together. Is that
Yes,
clear?
yes, that's definitely true. I was only mentioning your name because I'm aware
Yeah,
of
yeah.
you and a few more people here and there. True, true. Credit goes
So
to all the
that makes the job easier. That's what I mean to say.
easier
It makes
also.
it manageable.
Right, true. That's true. When you see, you're a first generation CA, like you said, and what planted the seed in your thought initially that मुझे CA करना है?
Yeah. So this my story was also same as most of the students. So I followed the what do you say deduction approach. If you say deductive approach, what do we say? So I
Okay.
chose not to do science, so I chose commerce. And once I chose commerce, then I joined NM. And once you join NM, you're supposed to do CA. It's that simple.
I like the way you put it, that you are supposed to do CA. It's not a choice, you're supposed to do. Karna to hai if you join NM. Now, so when you start, so okay, so you say that you took the deductive approach to selecting CA. Yeah, at the back of the mind when you started pursuing CA, uh, what were the difficulties or insecurities you face as a starting out student? See, I understand कि सबको ऐसा रहता है कि will I be able to do or not, but
Yeah,
at the same
absolutely.
time you are also aware that you are the first generation CA, so you don't even have the foundation to guidance to become a
Yes.
CA. So what was going through your head when you started out?
Yeah, I have a few interesting stories for this one.
Yeah,
So
please tell me.
my family background, they were not that aware that academically how challenging it is, what a big deal doing CA is. So there were two sets of relatives. One set of relatives was like, ये time pass कर रहा है, let's not take him seriously. And one set of relatives was like, ये ज्यादा ही serious thing है. And people used to tell my dad that people go crazy if they don't clear in CA. Crazy as in they have serious psychological and mental issues.
Psychological issues.
So my dad was worried. Let's not make our child go through all this. Let him have a normal experience. So there were few pushing me to do BCom plus MBA only. Then there were people who gave zero regard to the fact that I might become a CA. So possibility rule out kar diya tha. So one interesting example is, I am a huge believer in the law of attraction, karma, and all those stuffs. So very simple. Whatever is your vision, it should be a reality today. So right now I'm talking in a laptop, but I used my old desktop. It's in the other room. So over there, my wallpaper was the logo of CA, right? जो CA वाला logo, and it was that logo. And our vision is clear since I was at CPT. So I had a relative come over and he had a look at my desktop. He said, "ये क्या है?" I said, "CA logo." He told me, "Are you a CA yet?" I said, "No." And that's the day I was waiting. And today also I have a CA ka logo only, but it is with my name.
But it is with your name on it, right?
So these are the subtle remarks, subtle pushbacks that you get, but you need to keep moving.
See, I know this is going to sound a bit childish, but जिस दिन ऐसा फाइनल का रिजल्ट आया एंड यू वर लाइक अरे अभी मैं सीए बन गया, सर रिलेटिव्स का ऐसा टायर्स पे ऐसा ब्लेड मारने का मन किया क्या उसकी गाड़ी पे कि ये ले तेरा टायर काट दिया करके 8 साल मेरे को बोल रहा था.
So one more experience. So the great ritual that once you register for IPCC, you need to go and collect your books from the institute. So now they have started delivery system, but my dad's office is in BKC, near the Diamond Market BKC. That is very much nearby the ICA
institute, right?
Yeah. So my dad used to drive over there with his friends to office, and then one day I told him, "Ki, please go to BKC and pick up my books for IPCC." And IPCC ka books, if you remember the modules, kitna hai, itna. Those.
Literally, yeah, I've seen it.
So the moment he collected the books, my dad's friends are looking at him. He's looking at them. Then they are looking at the books. Yahi chal raha hai. Then dad came home with the books, saying that, "Is this even possible?" But the initial impression when people look at the module is that you need to study everything pura, but it's a different story, right? We refer institute material and classes material, and it's manageable. So that was also one more doubting moment. How are you even going to manage this? But it happens. So over here, I feel that the most critical factor is that if you have the right set of friends, everything is possible. So I always knew that if I stick to this circle of good friends who are pursuing CA, साथ में हो जाता है. If you do it in isolation now, you're gone. So huge credit to group of friends, good group of friends.
I mean, this when you talk about this story that मैंने जब इस CA का logo रखा था when I started out, and then people are being your relatives only are being so critical, they are like seeding the self-doubt in you. See, rather than appreciating this is so good that you're aspiring to be something which is so tough, they are putting in self-doubt कि अभी तो तू CA नहीं बना ना, तो तुझे डालने का क्या जरूरत है. And yet clearing, I mean, see, I'll be honest, okay, I know this is going to sound childish, but I mean, I don't know what you did कि तूने फिर उनको कॉल किया कि नहीं किया, and just to tell कि मैं CA बन गया. But अगर मैं होता तो I would have done कि जिस ब्लेड लेके गया और उनकी गाड़ी का टायर ऐसा फाड़ दिया, like from regards करके. And see, I guess this stereotypes when you talk about कि when anybody starts pursuing something which is very tough, the initial response, or I would say reaction, because response is usually well thought, कि people are going to stereotype you in a very common way. So when you talk about your stories, it is always like के CA बना नहीं तो लोगों क्यों डाला पड़ेगा, और maybe के तू इतना सारा पढ़ कैसे देगा. Me being a lawyer, my stereotype is कि if you say कि if I'm starting out law, then the first thing that comes to people's mind is अच्छा मतलब तो कोर्ट के बाहर काम मांगेगा. So that is so belittling.
So the moment you said this now, the scene outside Borivali court flashed in my mind, if you're aware. those
Yeah.
guys in the black room.
या फिर एफिडेविट बनाएगा, ये करेगा, वो करेगा, but
Rent
people
agreement.
forget
Rent
कि,
agreement. Yeah.
first of all, that Borivali court is a small court, okay? यहाँ पे
Yeah.
छोटे मोटे क्रिमिनल केसेस होते रहते हैं, तो वहाँ पे लॉयर्स भी फिर छोटे मोटे आते हैं.
Correct.
So, but when you go to high court, it is a different aura. So that
Absolutely.
way, I cannot go around and start explaining people कि no, ऐसा नहीं, हम सिर्फ एफिडेविट बेचते हैं करके.
हाँ बोल देने का. हाँ.
हाँ बोल देने का कि हाँ ठीक है एफिडेविट बेचेगा. If that is the case, जिस दिन तुझसे when you have to make an affidavit, I'll charge double the amount or triple the amount. As see this, you talk about your own like personal challenges when you started pursuing CA. What was the within the industry challenges while studying, or maybe while while working in your articleship, that you faced during pursuing CA?
So this is again everyone goes through it, so it's just that I'm representing everyone. It's not something I've done alag se. One of the major challenges that one faces is managing the schedule. It's crazy. You got classes at 7 in the morning, 7 to 10. Then you have to rush to the office. Then you have to work all day. You go home, you're exhausted, you sleep. Right. So this is how it goes the entire weekday. Weekends pay, you have 7-8 hours classes, and then there's no social life, and there's no time to relax at all. You're constantly under stress. 3 long years, you always know that you have to clear that exam. So that, I think, I'm realizing the sad state of mind that we are in for 3 years after I cleared, and when I look back. When the process is going on, you don't realize how bad it is or how much pressurizing it is. But once the pressure gets lifted off, then you realize that, oh, that's sad, that's bad. Yeah. Schedule is grueling.
Schedule is ruining. I mean, in terms of work, when I see, obviously, this is one of the aspects that I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Another aspect is, how should I put it? Is there a difference in the way you are being treated at any point? People who are first generation CAs and people who are already, have parents as CAs, or, well established, some foundation people and the students are having.
I would say,
like I would say, KC, when you apply to Big Four for articleship example. Okay, obviously you have also cleared in first attempt, somebody else has also cleared in first attempt. Let's take an example. Then while choosing, when somebody is choosing for articleship, is there a preference this is first generation CA, so he'll take a back seat, and the people, no, it's not the case, something?
No, fortunately, no, things are changing. People are very much open to merit now, and see, that might add as a brownie point or a minor push, but if your candidature is good, it's you're
it's sorted.
It's not that bad. So so the scenario that you're trying to portray is more of kind of a traditional system or old one, but now it's good. People are accepting. It's not an issue, not at all. Yeah.
So now that you have achieved such a huge feat in terms of degree as well, such tough course you completed, what has changed for you after becoming a CA?
So before qualifying, if anyone would ask me a query, then I would be giving the same answer. After qualifying also, I'm giving the same answer. Whatever technical doubt or query they have, it's just that now they believe me. Earlier, there was a doubt in terms of what I'm saying. And there was a phase in between when I had not cleared. I had flunked, right, in one attempt. So there was a change in behavior I could sense in people. So by God's grace, I have that intuition or stronger sense, where we can read people from their behavior or action without seeing.
Yeah, from intentions.
The non-verbal cues, right? I'm able to pick that up quickly. So it's a very sad thing that people judge someone based on their degree, or not degree, based on the outcome of an exam. How do you judge a human being based on his performance for 3 hours in an exam hall? This is very, very, very bad. You cannot belittle a person to a piece of paper.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
No,
what a human being, you or me, actually is, no one knows the infinite potential we possess. It's just that we are so lost into all these things, you don't know who you are, right? It's infinite. So I don't put out these words to everyone, obviously, but since we are discussing, a human needs to know who he actually is. So even if he goes on that path, the self-confidence that one would get, and actually in the process of knowing oneself, would help one course through everything. But at the same time, one needs to ensure that this added sense of self-confidence does not convert into arrogance. That's a very thin rope that one is walking on. So that balance always has to be there.
true. I mean, yeah, I understand, there are obviously some people with the mindset that after we clear any degree, be it CA, law, or being, graduating from IIMs or IITs, that this sense of entitlement gets into their head. कि अभी मैंने बहुत top institute से कर लिया है, now people should respect me. It's not that कि दिन को if they want to respect me, they can respect, but now अभी सबको करना है. When you're the second, see a chartered accountant that I've, called as a guest. When I talk to you people, okay, because see, I wasn't a part of either your college life, neither I was in HR, neither I was in NM, nor am I still, pursuing CA. So there is literally no connection to, to be associated in some manner. And when I start calling you, when I start calling Umang, I do when when you start posting your stories that I'm going on the podcast, at the back of my mind, this voice is, always there, which kind of gauges, people's reaction. Okay, who is Manan, first of all? Because all your friends might be from NM and HR and CS. Same thing with Umang as well. Zyada se zyada, people you have known from school, they might be from different field, but beyond that, there is no one. So there is always this reaction ke, how does he know him, or how does Prithvi know Manan, or how does Manan knows Prithvi? And I'm able to gauge it since the past 2 episodes, because and it's kind of weird also for me. I mean, I understand we belong to different fraternities. You are CA, I am lawyer. I wasn't even in college. You weren't in my college. But that does not mean that I carry the entitlement around के मैं सिर्फ lawyers के साथ ही बात करूंगा. I'll surround myself only with lawyers. मुझे और किसी का perspective का जरूरत नहीं है. If I am talking to a CA, I'll always talk about tax, audit, and finance. That's it. Nothing beyond that.
Perfect recipe for disaster. Perfect recipe for disaster. And unfortunately, 95% people are in that mindset.
Exactly.
I'm a chartered. I have chartered friends. I have chartered colleagues. That's my life. That's it. Sad.
And see, not only about, coming, see, I understand people agree just for the sake of, formality as well. And even as a guest, I'm able to gauge it के genuinely आ रहा है आने के लिए, या, only के चलो ठीक है बोला है तो अभी चले जाते हैं. But when you came, when Umang, both of you came so far, you both have been quite excited from the beginning, because when I started in the first week of July. मैंने तब से I wanted to be completely booked for next 3 months. I did not want to break any consistency. So even until the end of September, my guests are booked. So I was teaching कि नहीं भाई किसको आना है, and वो पता चलता है कि अच्छा नहीं इसको सच्ची में आना है करके. He's really excited to come. People show their support also. Can I'll post a story, I'll share with people. ये वो. So that really makes me happy. Despite being of different fraternities as well, we are not limiting ourselves to only the fraternity that we belong to. This one important question that we recently talked about on WhatsApp. You recently, when I asked you that, tell me about yourself, you said that you try to find the meaning and the purpose of life.
Right.
What have you reached that answer, or if you have not, what is the current state of your mind? And if I were to ask that, what is the purpose of life? What would be your answer right now?
It's a tough one. So, so this is a very guarded side, I would say, to myself. Not everyone who knows me is aware of it. And I'm sure if they are able to reach this part of the podcast, then they will be knowing. So it's a hidden gem and it will remain hidden. So I'm openly discussing about it.
Yeah, sure.
So uh, this started when I, in fifth or sixth standard, I asked my tuition teacher who created this planet. She said God. Then I asked who created God. She said, I'll ask my elder brother and get back to you. Even my elder brother had no answer. But, and it's going on since then, and it's still going on. There are breaks in between the journey. I read a lot. Sometimes I get a lot in that zone. Then I come back into the normal zone. So it is a journey. We try to. So it's the case with every spiritual seeker. Every seeker, the person who is trying to seek meaning of life. It's a uncharted territory. Totally, it's a very lonely experience, if I would say.
True.
You don't know where you're going, and once you think that you've figured it out to a certain level, the next day you're back to square one. It's a totally different experience. And if you'd say in terms of progress where I've reached, I would say at a knowledge level, I have reached a certain stage where many people are yet to reach. But have I achieved anything in terms of what I actually want? No, I have not. But in the process, have I become a different person? Yes, I have. So whatever I said just now, it might be very cryptic for people, and those who know will know, and they will be able to crack it. And if you want to get started on your journey, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you read Autobiography of a Yogi. Those who have read it, they are aware of it. So I'll give you quick facts about the book. Steve Jobs used to read it every year. It was the only book on his iPad. And when he died, this book was distributed at his prayer meeting. Now imagine a guy like Steve Jobs, his only favorite book. So there has to be some impact, right? This book itself has a different magic altogether. It explains most of the concepts, and the story instills a different kind of faith in you. And it is my favorite book to gift to everyone. I keep on gifting everyone this book. Those my close friends know. Most of them have received a copy of it.
Wow. So at the end of the day, what is the meaning of life for you? Is it doing something meaningful? Is it doing something for others? Is it doing something knowledgeable? I mean, only seeking knowledge? Is it wealth? What is the meaning for you as an individual? Because when you ask this question, this question, it's a quite an open-ended question, and it is a very subjective question and answer as well. Because for some, and I have know a few people also, when I talk to them, for some the meaning of life is do whatever you want to do, and it does not matter if it is good for the society or what impact it sends around the society. Do whatever you want to do. At the same time, I have know people that want to do something that they want to do, at the same time it has a good effect on society as well. So what is the meaning for you?
For me, firstly, if you are able to be of use to someone, you are bound to get returns. So I am a huge believer in karma and getting things done, and I am Jain by religion. Unlike, so there are people who might think at first impression I might be Parsi or Bori given my
Hmm.
surname, but in Gujarat
Yeah.
it's very common. So I am Jain. So even those principles are deeply imbibed in me since childhood. So I'm a huge believer of karma and doing good things. And also I believe Mahabharatas and Gita's philosophies, कर्म करो फल की चिंता मत करो. So
Hmm.
I individually am a seeker, but whenever a task is thrown at me, I get a work. My sole intention is to get the work done. I do not or the fruit that we would be getting. I just believe in getting the job done. And if it is a well-intentioned job, the dividends are thousand times to you and give you back returns in unimaginable ways. You won't be able to believe. So when I started Vision CA, we are still not monetizing the mentoring process. We might be
Hmm.
trying to bring in some other things, but the opportunities that it has unlocked for me in this whole process, it is immense and immeasurable. And the universe has its own mechanism, beautiful way of responding in things unimaginable. It will give you back in such ways that the mind can never preconceive. It's beautiful.
So you believe in doing something that is selfless in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the way
So
you described it, I guess you have put a, I think you have put a lot of thought into it, and it is reflected in your actions as well. Because it is easy to say, "Ki I do, I do selfless acts." Like even I can claim I do selfless acts, but what is the thing that you're doing that is so selfless? For you, it is clearly Vision CA, where you are giving mentorship to students where you have nothing to gain. The
right.
best your rewards will be के जिसको मैंने mentorship दिया, that student cleared in a very quickly, and today is earning very well, and is leading a very happy life. That
Right,
must be the best reward for you, and it's
right,
clearly reflected in your actions.
right. So yeah, one more thing. So in terms of meaning of life, when you said, right, so I would believe it's about losing yourself. So I'm trying to touch upon a deeper concept over here. So one more book recommendation, The Power of Now, by Eckhart Tolle. So it's about attaining a zone of zero ego, the sense of me as a different human being and divided from the whole society and consciousness. It has to be dissolved. So once you dissolve and become one with everything, that's when you achieve everything. So my constant focus is to achieve a state of no ego or zero ego and to become one with everything that is around me. It might sound a deep or a hard hitting concept, but that is what I am always striving for.
Yeah, it is indeed very deep. Even right now I'm listening. I mean, I understand what you are trying to say, but to experience it is a different experience altogether.
Yeah.
Wow.
So still, again, I am a lot on the knowledge front. Experientially, there are certain experiences that one strives for on a spiritual path, but I am yet to reach that stage.
Hmm.
But still, I want to inculcate more meditation and yoga in my daily routine, and I will get it done for sure. So in the past 1 year, my schedule has been wrecked, but I want to attain that discipline practice in my daily life that will help
Hmm.
me advance further in my spiritual journey.
I mean, when you say that you want to see still start yoga and everything. I mean, I am sure that sooner or later, in a few months down the line, you are going to reach that. Okay, your schedule is very much in order, and
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't see, because so far what you have done, what you have said, you have done. So
Yeah.
even with this, I believe that what you are saying will be achieved sooner or later.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
When you say that you don't you you losing yourself for the part that you brought up. I mean, a long time ago, I was scrolling through Facebook, and one of the somebody had posted, with a huge following, that what is the thing that you fear the most, and on that you had commented, "Ki, I fear losing myself."
Yeah.
So this immediately brought that incident into the mind. Ki, Acha, this is what he meant when he said, "Ki, I'm fear losing myself." So, Prithvi, one last question: what lies ahead for you as a chartered accountant, number one, and also for Vision C?
Okay, this is a good one. As a chartered accountant, future prospects, I'm still not sure what I want to do. I'm figuring out things. I am even meddling with 3-4 projects. If I'm able to succeed over there, if those work out, then I might pursue entrepreneurship through those ventures. And in terms of Vision CA, we have a lot of things planned. They are in the pipeline. And the core DNA and philosophy remains social in nature, but we might evolve into a freemium model, a free plus premium model. We are trying to offer more things, better things, and the ultimate aim can be to evolve into an edtech startup. You never know. It's the season of edtech, right? So,
I noticed that when you posted your reel.
yeah.
I see. I usually follow things up, because right now I have only like 500 and some followers. So I am aware that who is liking the photo, who is sharing the photo. Someone named Dhaval Purohit, and I am aware he was a costing professor in JK Shah. We had attended his classes also. He is into that field, if I'm not wrong, EdTech, what he's doing with
Yeah.
Sagar
So,
Vora.
yeah, they they started their own classes.
True.
Yeah, they are my good friends. We are in touch. Yeah. So it's the name is on similar lines, but they are also working on those lines. But our concept and model is going to be a bit different, and it's going to be broad based and not just limited to CA field. That's what we are.
Yes, I've seen that, Vision MBA, if I'm not wrong, that you have named
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
Vision
Vision
MBA
B.
and
Yeah.
Vision CFA and everything you are expanding.
Yeah.
True. Prithvi, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thanks for
David,
inviting me.
it
Yeah.
was a pleasure to have you, and considering this is the first time that we are meeting also face to face, and the first time we are talking as well. This
Yeah.
was a very smooth conversation, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you so
And
much.
I thoroughly enjoyed, your perspective on why we should do selfless deeds, and your take on Vision CA and everything. Like I can say, I like the clarity of thought that you hold about, the things you are doing. At least that aspect. I mean, there's a lot to learn from you, for me as well, and from others. Others also should learn from you about the clarity of thought.
It was see, podcasts are fun, I must say. So I got to sit with you and I was just speaking out loud. So uh, I got to remind myself of my own philosophies and principles. So I will become a better person now, and get more serious about whatever things I want to pursue. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And though we are speaking for the first time, I feel like we've known each other forever.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. That's true. Well,
Amazing.
so now I'll
Some
be
some yeah.
stopping the recording. Just 1 minute.